Hello, I have a project to share with you today. We were inspired to make some Roman armor after reading these books for our Ancient Rome unit. So I start off the project by spray painting some pieces of cardboard with some Rust-Oleum hammered metal spray paint. You can get this at a hardware store. And I'm working outside to make sure that it's well ventilated because this stuff does smell. And this is what it looks like when it's done. And I did leave them outside for a week just so that they would air out because the odor does linger. And I'm cutting the cardboard into strips that are about 5 inches wide. And it's pretty hard to get through cardboard with a pair of scissors, but this one got warped when we had left it out and it rained. So I'm going to go ahead and cut them all up, and now I'm going to work on the shield. And I wet it and then I shaped it around a pole so that it could give it a curved look so that it resembled the shield in the book. And so now we're going to paint it now that it's dry. And I don't have that many acrylic paints, but I'm trying to make a brown color. And once I add the black to this, it actually turns green rather than brown. And we paint it anyway because I'm out of acrylic paint. And my kids are helping out here. And it doesn't take long for it to paint and to dry. So this is what it looks like when it's done. And once it's dry, I'm going to add the detail, which is like an arch with some details of like a floral design or a leaf design. So I'm doing this the first one, and we actually are making 3 shields all together. So then my 4-year-old makes her own, and then my 13-year-old makes one too. And so now we're going to work on the tunic, and I'm just using some fabric from a pair of curtains that I got years ago, and I'm going to measure the width based on my child's t-shirt, including the sleeves. And so now I need to cut a circle to as like a for his head, and I do end up cutting this a little bit too big, and I do have to make a correction for this. But basically, if you cut it around 8 to 8.5 inches in diameter, that should be sufficient. So now I need to make some sleeves and the rest of the tunic. And so I'm going to fold it in half, and then I'm going to cut, I'm just estimating approximately where like the sleeve should be. And so I'm going to cut it like a t-shirt, and then I'm going to cut it straight down. And once I get to around the waist, I'm going to flare it out, and so it ends up looking a little bit more like a dress, but once the tunic is under the armor, it looks fine. So I'm using some pink thread since I don't have red, and my 9-year-old is going to sew up all 3 tunics, one for my 4-year-old, one for himself, and one for my 13-year-old. So this is what it looks like when it's done. I did add some darts in it. So we're going to be using some of these metal brads and some double stick carpet adhesive and a remnant piece of fabric in order to work on the shield. We're going to make a little handle for the shield. So I'm using some of this double stick adhesive. It's really strong and very sticky, and it's going to keep this little fabric piece in place so that my kids have a handle. And this is what it looks like when it's done. So now we want to work on the armor, and I'm going to use a paper piercer to make holes into these strips of cardboard, and I'm going to fasten it together using these metal brads. So I end up using about 3 pieces of cardboard, like 3 5-inch pieces of cardboard, to make armor for my 9-year-old. And then I think I use, again, 3 pieces for my 13-year-old, but I end up cutting his pieces about 6.5 inches wide. So now I need to use a fastener to keep the armor closed, and I just found this in my hardware supplies. And we're going to use brads to keep it in place. And so I'm just going to do it on either side of the armor. So it doesn't do a great job of keeping the armor closed, but this is what it looks like, and it looks nice. So to make the sleeves, I just used more strips of the cardboard, and I fastened them with brads on either side, the front and the back. And then for that little extra flap, I just added another brad. So I'm going to work on the helmet now, and I'm not really sure what I'm doing. I don't have a concrete plan. So I'm using these remnant pieces, and I am going to try to fasten them all together and try to make kind of the arched part of the helmet. So I'm using a lot of brads for this, which ends up not being the greatest idea because they do get caught in my kids' hair, especially if they try to take the helmet off. It does pull their hair. And so I am going to shape this all together, and it ends up looking a little bit more like a football helmet versus a helmet for armor. But it's okay. I run out of brads, and I end up having to use some of this carpet tape in order to place this last piece on the back. So this is what it basically looks like when it's done. Has a lot of brads in it. And putting all the things together, this is what it looks like. So we made the helmet, the armor, the tunic, the shield, and a little like neck band, basically. The kids are doing the tortoise formation, which is a tactical formation used in battle. And now they're doing a mock battle. And here's the side-by-side, the picture in the book and my son. And here are all the pieces that we made for this project. Okay guys, thanks for watching.